are welcome to As a Matter of Fact YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about rather something really different. You know, you have known us for talking about things to do with wars, things to do with political situations, political tensions, wars and military comparisons and all that. But rather today I want us to look at something entirely local, something Ugandan, something so Ugandan. Now, we are going to speak about a hit and run accident that just occurred on Makere Kavudi Bwaise Road. It was approximately 11:30 when the accident happened on this road going to Bwaise in a hit and run. A Boda Boda rider who was riding literally in the middle of the road was hit by a saloon car that took off immediately after hitting him. Now, there are things that I want us to look at today in this video, which is literally going to be so brief, but rather worth giving an ear. One, we are going to look at this road that is full of potholes, but a road that takes the president in the morning and the evening. Now, when you look at this road that comes from Bwaise Round, from the northern bypass at Bwaise, leading to the roundabout of Kubiri, this is the road that the president uses morning and evening. But this road is full of potholes. It has had potholes, but nevertheless, people overspeed on it. Now, if you know between that roundabout of Kubiri and Total petrol station, literally, the accident occurred just right at the Total petrol station. Now, on this part, the road is very smooth, okay? It means that immediately after people have hit the potholes, they now accelerate and drive very fast, and this is where the accident happened. The road itself is very narrow. It is so small in that when there is one car on the other side and another car on this other side, there is literally nowhere where you're going to pass as a Boda Boda rider, unless if you're going to ride on the pavement, which is not allowed. But this road was very open, and this guy, the Boda Boda guy, was running very fast, and the car was also running very fast, okay? The car was going to Bwaise, and this guy was coming from Kubiri. No. The car was going to Bwaise, and the guy was going to Wandegea side. So there was that collision, but fortunately enough, this guy did not die. However, the other issue to look at is that it took about 15 minutes for this guy to be gotten off the road to the side. So many people had gathered, okay, but no one was bothered to pick this guy from the middle of the road, putting him on the side. It took about 15 minutes before the Boda Boda guys were able to, help him to put him on the side. Why does this happen? It so happens because people fear that whenever they lay their hands on such a person, the next thing is that you're going to be asked how it happened. And sometimes people don't want to tell stories. Two, when this guy was put on the roadside, it took another 30 minutes before he was picked to go to the hospital. You know why? Because when you take this guy to the hospital, you're going to be asked, you're going to be retained because they're going to inform the police in the nearby hospital. Let's say if it's a general hospital like Mulago, you're going to be retained there to give statements. And these are things that people don't want to be dwelled into. One, their day is going to be, literally outspent when they've not made money, because at the end of the day, people are fending for themselves. But if someone happens to help this guy and take him to the hospital, he's going to be asked so many questions which people don't want to answer. And at the end of the day, we put people's lives in danger. So it took about 30 minutes before the Boda Boda guys were able to put this guy on a border to take him to the police. At about 25 minutes, there was a traffic officer who came. Remember, there is a police post at around Pastor Senyonga's church. So literally you would expect police to have come in a few minutes, maximum 5. Either with an ambulance or not, because sometimes we might, say, ambulances are far. So either they would have come with a patrol car, taken the guy to the hospital, or at least being there to keep law and order. But the guy lied down lifelessly on just next to a trench for over 30 minutes until when the Boda Boda guys decided to pick him up and take him to the hospital because at least he was still breathing and he was somehow able to stand on his 2 feet. I am still in shock of how it could happen and the guy was able to stand because he sustained serious arm injuries on his left cheek. The eye is literally almost out, but somehow he was able to stand. They pulled him, they held him on both sides and put him on a border and rode away. Shocking enough, it took an hour for the police to arrive. Remember I told you it is just opposite Total Petrol Station, Makere Kavule. There is a police station in Wandegear. There is a police post in at Pastor Senyonga's church, but there is also police around Kalere. But it took them almost an hour when everyone had dispersed from the scene to arrive. The question is, what did they come to do? Or what post-mortem, if the guy had died, what would they have done? So, I brought this story today to enlighten people that the reason why people sometimes don't want to help are the questions that they are asked whenever they help. You take this guy to the hospital and you asked a million questions, you asked to make statements, and yet you're helping. So what happens, people? They just look at you and leave you to die. When you're bleeding, you bleed to death because they don't want to help and they ask so many questions. But also, it should be a lesson to the law enforcement agencies that when someone has brought someone, before you ask them questions, first treat this person. If this person is willing to open up, to speak and tell the story of whatever transpired, then do that. But if he wasn't involved and was just helping and he's able to convince you that way, please let them go and do other things, unless if they are willing themselves to stay. But this notion, this play about of, telling someone to go to the police and make statements of what happened, narrating the stories, that is why people leave those who have gotten accidents to literally die on the road because they don't want their fingerprints on the victims. This is the road that the president uses every morning and evening. Why does it have potholes? Why does it have spots that are very smooth, where people literally overspeed? There are no humps, but then there are those spots that are full of potholes. But the president uses the road every day. I think it is not fair. So the guy has been rushed to the nearby hospital. Most of them were refuting taking him to Malago, thinking that, there is that complex, there is that inferiority complex, not inferiority complex, there is that notion of people thinking that when someone goes to a government hospital, they are literally left to die, which I don't believe in. I've been to so many government hospitals that have literally given my people, or even myself, enough attention. But they decided to rush the guy to a nearby clinic that could maybe give him some first aid, and then after they can take him to a bigger hospital as they were contacting the family and relatives. So that's what I wanted to put to you light today, for you to understand why sometimes these accidents happen and people die, okay? And opening up that this is a road that is used mostly by VIPs, by the way, not only the president. So many people, the head of prisons, the deputy, the prime minister, actually, who stays nearby, so it is a road that you would expect to be in an A+ kind of situation. But that's how it happened. We don't condone whatever happened, hitting the guy and then you run away, because they tried to chase the guy but they couldn't get him. But also the Boda Boda guys who overspeed. The road is so narrow. They literally, when you're walking, they literally, bakuita kurususu kwenyini. Ostegera ngaba boda boda ngabo bumamanyi nti bayitsinga natayagala kumanya oba osala oba okola ki. So in these times, people have to get serious and understand that there is a lot of road carnage, apparently. So that's what we had for you today on As a Matter of Fact, as in now that we had transpired, but we shall be coming back with more videos, so stay glued.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button such that you can be reminded whenever we put a new video. Much love.